olórí ẹbí ti sọ̀rọ̀ o. sẹ́yìn náà ti gbọ́ àlàyé tí olórí ẹbí nínú ìdílé ọlọ́mọọba Fusengbuwa nílùú Ìjẹ̀bú Òde lórí ìgbésẹ̀ àti jẹ Awùjalẹ̀ tìlú Ìjẹ̀bú. tẹ́ ẹ bá gbàgbé, tẹ́ ẹ bá rántí wípé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ oríṣiríṣi awuyewuye ni ó ń jáde lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ta ni ó bọ́ sórí àpèrè Awùjalẹ̀ tìlú Ìjẹ̀bú, pàápàá jùlọ bí àwọn kan ṣe ń sọ wípé àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ tí wọ́n ń ṣe kò kárí ètò láti mú ọmọye tí ó bọ́ sórí àpèrè Awùjalẹ̀ tìlú Ìjẹ̀bú Òde nínú ẹbí Fusengbuwa nílùú Ìjẹ̀bú pé ni wọ́n ti ń gba àbẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀, ni wọ́n ti ń gba rìbá, ni wọ́n ti ń gbowó ẹ̀yìn. àwọn kan ní ọkọ̀ làwọn kan ń gbà, àwọn kan ní báàgì ráìsì ni àwọn ọmọye kan ń gbé fáwọn kan. bẹ́ẹ̀ oríṣiríṣi ọ̀rọ̀ allegation, àwáwí àhesọ òní à ń gbọ́. akàntí ẹ̀ gbọ́ wípé gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn wọ́n ní òun náà ní ààyò nínú àwọn ọmọ ọba tí wọ́n fìfẹ́ hàn láti bọ́ sórí àpèrè Awùjalẹ̀ tìlú Ìjẹ̀bú Òde. wọ́n ní ẹni tí gómìnà nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí yìí gan pé ni gómìnà fẹ́ kí àwọn afọbajẹ kí wọ́n kéde gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹni tí ó bọ́ sórí àpèrè Awùjalẹ̀ tìlú Ìjẹ̀bú Òde. a gbọ́ wípé mílíọ̀nù 10 owó náírà pé ni àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ tí wọ́n ń ṣe kò kárí ètò nínú ẹbí ọlọ́mọọba Fusengbuwa tí ọpọ́n kìíní ọ̀hún sún kàn wípé 10 million naira náà ní kí ọmọye kọ̀ọ̀kan tó fẹ́ fìfẹ́ hàn, tó fẹ́ bọ́ sórí àpèrè Awùjalẹ̀ tìlú Ìjẹ̀bú pé ni wọ́n ní kí wọ́n lọ mú wá. àtúngbọ̀ pé àwọn 6 péré ni wọ́n kójú òṣùwọ̀n, ni wọ́n perégedé nínú àwọn bíi 95 tí wọ́n fìfẹ́ hàn. èwo lòtítọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ nínú gbogbo eléyìí tí à ń gbọ́? kí ni òdodo ọ̀rọ̀? kí ni àlàyé tí olórí ẹbí nínú ìdílé ọlọ́mọọba Fusengbuwa níjẹ̀bú tí ọpọ́n Awùjalẹ̀ tìlú Ìjẹ̀bú Òde sún kàn? ọ̀túnba Owóyẹmí kí ná báwọn oníròyìn sọ? kí làlàyé tí wọ́n ṣe? mo fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ farabalẹ̀ kẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí àlàyé tí ọ̀túnba Owóyẹmí tí í ṣe olórí ẹbí nínú ìdílé ọlọ́mọọba Fusengbuwa tó bá àwọn oníròyìn sọ. ẹ jẹ́ á gbọ́. Gẹ̀ẹ́sì ni, ṣùgbọ́n tẹ́ ẹ bá farabalẹ̀ yóò yé yín dáadáa. tẹ́ ẹ bá wá gbọ́ tán, màá fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká fi èrò àti ìwòye kẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká fi hàn lórí àlàyé tí ọ̀túnba Owóyẹmí olórí ẹbí nínú ẹbí ọlọ́mọọba Fusengbuwa tó bá àwọn oníròyìn sọ. ó yá ẹ jẹ́ á jọ gbọ́ láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ títí dé parí.
In the first place, we started with 12 candidates. After the family had unanimously resolved that a price tag should, as is common in Yoruba land, put on anyone who wants to contest for the position of Awujale. At the general meeting, the amount was reduced from 100 million naira to 10 million naira only. And the members were so informed. 12 members applied and paid the 10 million naira each. From nowhere, one of the contenders called me to say I should change what the committee has resolved by reducing the amount. I told him blankly, I have no power to increase or decrease what the ruling house has unanimously approved. He then told me he was highly connected with the governor of Ogun State and I was going to use all his influence to ensure the decision was reversed. Subsequently, we had an invitation from the Ogun State government to meet with the senior state officials, especially Commissioner for Chieftaincy Affairs and the Secretary of the Government. At that meeting, we were advised that what we had charged was not fair to everybody, And we should go, one, return all the 10 million each of the 12 candidates had paid, and secondly, announce that any willing member of the family could apply to collect the application candidature funds from us without paying a naira. Consequently, from within 3 days, we were able to refund all the money to those who had paid, and we sent copies of the bank advice to the Honorable Commissioner for Chieftaincy Affairs, the Secretary to the State Government, and to the Governor himself, in evidence that were complied in a record time with the request and with the directive we were given. And they commended verbally our Council of Elders for being so honest and very responsible, and that elevated our prestige before the government authorities. But something then happened. Members started to flock in all kinds of characters. From 12 candidates, it went to 15, to 20, to 30, to 40, to 45, to 50, to 60, to 70, to 80, to 90, and 95 before we went for the formal candidate nomination meeting. At that meeting, those who had submitted all their records were nominated by one member of the family and seconded by the other. After exhausting the whole list, I, as the chairman, asked the meeting, are there any persons here again that think we can add or want to add any more candidates? 12 people raised their hands, and I asked them to line up and queue. And in pairs, nominator and seconder, we had 6 more candidates. And that was why the number seemed very large. But as a ruling house, all we could do was to gather the names of those who wanted to be considered for the position. We had no powers under the law to screen out anybody, to take anybody out of the list, or to add anybody to the list as compiled at the nomination meeting, both by our own secretariat and by the secretary to the local government who came as observers. Consequently, the list of candidates were compiled and numbered serially from number 1 to 95. We then worked on arranging the data submitted personally by each candidate, and those also submitted by candidates just nominated on the floor of the meeting. And an assignment that almost every Ijebu person thought would be impossible to achieve became achieved and achievable by our committee of elders. And that was how we were able to have an appointment with the kingmakers and comply with the law by submitting to them the list of candidates together with their personal data, certificates, commendations, and all that were required by the kingmakers, successfully achieving a feat which was previously considered impossible to achieve. The kingmakers had been carefully selected by the late Awujale Ijebu over a number of years to ensure that each one was from a reputed, well-respected family unit, was well placed in a position in life, had a viable employment or career, and were sufficiently blessed by God that they would not be susceptible to any bribe or corruption by those who had been boasting that they were going to get the throne, come what, come may. Thank God, they started their work, and the whole ruling house were very, very happy as things were going on very, very smoothly. Only for us to receive a letter from the state government saying that they had received some complaints, some petitions, and some reports, none of which was ever brought to our notice.
All right, Otumba.
To date, excuse me, sir. To date, no candidate had either called me, phoned me, or sent a letter complaining against anything that you had done so far. So we were worried and surprised. What were these allegations that the government had that were not made available to us for counterbalance the allegations? Because we had a lot of enemies. We had those who wanted to sabotage the system, and we had those who were praying that our ruling house will fail to complete the process, and the kingship, after 100 years, will now shift to another ruling house. And thank God that has not happened so far. I had heard a lot about Wasiu for a long time. I've never seen him physically until after the death of the Royal Highness Awujale, and we were to meet the Otumbas in the residence of one of our members. There I met him for the first time, and when he greeted me respectfully, he then told me, "Sir, are you aware that Fidipote was a son of Fusengbuwa?" I said, that's shocking to me. I've not had that history before. He said, yes, that is this. I said, okay, I'm learning every day. That was the first time I had anything to do with him. A day before the closure of nominations, he brought a letter to me saying that he was interested in becoming the next Awujale. Traditionally, there are thousands and thousands of members who claim to be members of the ruling house. But we have a process in the ruling house, long established process. You will get a particular form from the secretariat where you will indicate your name, your details, and through which of your parents you have become a member of our ruling house. And the head of that unit, of your unit, will countersign that in truth you are a member of our ruling house. We will then receive it and give you a membership card, which entitles you to attend our meetings and take part in all we are doing. On the day the musician brought his letter to me, it was the last day for submission of completed application forms. Typically, the application form will take about 3 or 5 days for anybody to complete. So I said, okay, here is the family registration form. Can you quickly complete it? And I would exceptionally extend the closure date by giving you about 7 days within which to return the membership identification form, collect the candidature form, complete them, and return them to me. He got the papers. We never had anything from him until a day to the deadline I gave him almost expired. When I got the paper, I took it to the council of the ruling house, and they said, who signed as his family unit head? He's not a recognized member of our ruling house. We have heard that this gentleman was from Fidipote ruling house. From which lineage of the ruling house has he emerged? We could not trace anything. We then wrote him a letter, a very polite letter, that we have seen your paper. We cannot see any evidence that will convince us that you are a genuine and legitimate member of our ruling house. And he went to court against us. Out of his own free will and accord, he withdrew that litigation. And we carried on with our work. We then proceeded to do our family nomination meeting. And the legitimate candidates were nominated. And the meeting closed. And we submitted our list of candidates to the kingmakers for the action. There is a problem of misconception. In the past, Obas were selected by the elders of the families who consulted the oracle, and the elder would just raise the hand of a selected candidate and say, this now is the next Awujale. But that has changed since 1959. only the family at a family meeting, open one, where everybody, young, old, fat, lean, will take part and make nominations, and somebody will second that candidate. Once that is done, the person becomes a candidate. No family head, no member, nobody can influence the course of events. No family head can interfere in promoting any candidate or demoting any candidate. The entire list is then submitted to the kingmakers, who have all the authority and power to reflect from the association with the Awujale. What are the challenges that will face the new Awujale? And what are the capabilities and qualities of the candidate that will best fit the position and elevate the Ijebu kingdom into greater heights? When the crisis for the leadership of the ruling house broke out in 2013, the family had been meeting once in every 2 months. And every quarter, we had some well-respected and effective Ifa priests who would come to our meeting and divine for us, tell us how things were standing, where the matter was heading for, and what will happen today and tomorrow. And in that process, we have been having indication of what the next Awujale would almost look like. We had been foretold that when the contest opens, the number of candidates will be so large that no room will be able to contain them. That the selection would be easier than we expect, and the imagined Awujale would be a record breaker and perform much better, much more effectively than any of the 59 Awujales that we will have had by that time. Ever since the nominations began, we continue conferring with the Ifa people and had guided us about what will happen next, what is happening now, and who would likely become the candidate. But we kept those facts to ourselves as elders of the ruling house, and we thought we should allow the kingmakers to make their own choice voluntarily without being teleguided by our information, because we wanted, if I had told people that if it does not come fulfilled, it will return to heaven. Even the current crisis that is going on right now, we have been forewarned about it, that somebody, a man, would start a confusion of the process, and we have been told and forewarned how the whole argument will end.
All right.
ẹ jẹ́ kí n dé iléeṣẹ́ Idris Enterprise, iléeṣẹ́ tí wọ́n lórúkọ rere, iléeṣẹ́ tí wọ́n gbọ̀rẹ̀kẹ̀jigẹ̀, iléeṣẹ́ tí wọ́n nírìírí àti òye nípa bá a ṣe bá ní fi orúkọ iléeṣẹ́ sílẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àjọ Corporate Affairs Commission CAC. Bóyá ẹ̀yin fẹ́ fi orúkọ iléeṣẹ́ yín sílẹ̀, ìyẹn business name, àbí ẹ fẹ́ upgrade business name yín sí liability company, wọ́n ń ṣe nílé iṣẹ́ Idris Enterprise. Bóyá ẹ̀yin dẹ̀ fẹ́ gba certificate TIN, ìyẹn tax identification number certificate, ẹ fẹ́ gbà á, iṣẹ́ wọn ni nílé iṣẹ́ Idris Enterprise. Bákan náà, bóyá àjọ tàbí association kan lẹ́yìn ní tí ẹ wá fẹ́ fi orúkọ sílẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ àjọ Corporate Affairs Commission CAC, kẹ́ ẹ lè láǹfààní sí àwọn owó ìrànwọ́ tí ìjọba àpapọ̀ tí wọ́n ń fún àwọn onílé iṣẹ́ àti àwọn ẹgbẹ́jẹgbẹ́ tí wọ́n bá ti forúkọ sílẹ̀. Ẹ bá ilé iṣẹ́ Idris Enterprise, ẹ bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀. Mo sì mọ̀ wípé ayọ̀ ni yóò padà já sí, torí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tí wọ́n ti ń bá wọn dòwò pọ̀, tí wọ́n ń gbéṣẹ́ fún wọn, ò ní wọ́n ń kan sáárá tí wọ́n sì ń dúpẹ́ nígbẹ̀yìn. Ìdí abájọ ni pé wọn kì í fi iṣẹ́ wọn falẹ̀. Àsìkò péréte òun náà ni ohun tí wọ́n bá bá yín ṣe òun ni yóò jáde. Bóyá ìforúkọsílẹ̀ ilé iṣẹ́ ni àbí ti NGO, ìyẹn non-governmental organization, tàbí ẹ̀yin fẹ́ ṣe NIN modification wọ́n ń ṣe nílé iṣẹ́ Ideas Enterprise. Bákan náà bóyá ẹ̀yin fẹ́ máa gbé ọjà local goods ẹ fẹ́ máa gbé lọ sí orílẹ̀-èdè míì ẹ wá ń wá ọ̀nà àbáyọ ẹ fẹ́ gba ìwé ẹ̀rí tí ẹ fi lè mọ láǹfààní láti máa gbé ọjà lọ sí ilẹ̀ òkèrè ìyẹn export license iléeṣẹ́ Ideas Enterprise wọ́n bá yín ṣe lọ́nà ìrọ̀rùn láì ní fi àsìkò ṣòfò. Bákan náà iléeṣẹ́ Ideas Enterprise wọ́n bá ní gba international passport ní àárín àsìkò péréte láì ní fi àsìkò ṣòfò tí kò sì ní ná yín ní wàhálà kankan. Nítorí wá jẹ́ kó rọrùn ni wípé kò síbi tẹ́ ẹ̀ ti lè bá wọn dòwò pọ̀. Ìlú wo lẹ̀yin wà, orílẹ̀-èdè wo lẹ̀yin wà, ẹ̀yin ẹ kàn pè wọ́n kẹ́ ẹ bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ kẹ́ ẹ ṣàlàyé ohun tẹ́ ẹ bá fẹ́ fún wọn. Mo sì fọwọ́ sọ̀yà wípé ìrọ̀rùn òní yóò bá dé. Ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn ni 09037690638 ẹgbọ́ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí 09037690638 òun náà ni ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ Ideas Enterprise. Ẹ pè wọ́n lónìí kẹ́ ẹ bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀.
Ideas Enterprise ní ẹ̀kan sí o registration ilé iṣẹ́ àti mọ́tò báwo lẹ ṣe fẹ́ sí Ideas Enterprise àwọn ní bàbá.
Ideas Enterprise ilé-iṣẹ́ tó láàmìlaka tó ta kànmọ́lẹ̀ káàkiri àgbáyé. Ideas Enterprise ilé-iṣẹ́ tó mójúlẹ̀jà nípa bá a ṣe bá ní forúkọ ilé-iṣẹ́ ẹni sílẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àjọ Corporate Affairs Commission CAC àti SMEDAN Small and Medium Scale Enterprise láàrin àsìkò péréte bíbánigba tax identification number tin láì múnira lọ́wọ́. Ilé-iṣẹ́ Ideas Enterprise tó ń bá ní gba ìwé ìrìnnà international passport láàrin àsìkò péréte láìsí làálàá. Gbogbo ohun tó jẹmọ́ online services ni wọ́n ń ṣe lọ́dọ̀ wọn. Ìrírí àti ẹ̀kọ́ tí wọ́n ní níṣẹ́ wọn fi rọrùn gbà. Gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n bá wọn dòwò pọ̀ ni wọ́n ń kan sáárá. Nítorí owó wọn ò gara wọn kì í fi àsìkò ṣòfò. Ìrọ̀rùn níṣẹ́ wọn. Nílé iṣẹ́ Ideas Enterprise gbogbo bílọ́ọ̀jà wọn dé lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára Facebook Ideas Enterprise, TikTok Ideas Enterprise, Instagram Ideas Enterprise. Ẹ tún lè bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ lójú òpó WhatsApp 0903-769-0638 lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí 0903-769-0638. Ideas Enterprise iṣẹ́ wọn fi ní lọ́kàn balẹ̀.